Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to Channel Joe Rocks. Hope everybody's doing well. I'm here with a haul video. This is just going to be strictly classic rock type of stuff. It's not a ton. It's like 3 vinyls and 2 CD box sets. So the vinyl is stuff that I've never owned on vinyl. But I do have on CD, and then 2 CD box sets, like I said. So anyway, I'll start with the vinyl. And the first one is from David Bowie, the man who sold the world. This is his 3rd studio album. I do have other Bowie on vinyl. Aladdin Sane, Ziggy Stardust, Hunky Dory, Diamond Dogs, and I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's it. So it's just standard black. These are recently reissued, I believe, from 2019, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, this album came out in 1970 originally, but I think it's from. They did remasters again. I think they were in 2018 or 2019. So, but yeah. So I picked this one up. I never had it on vinyl. Like I said, I do have it on CD. This is the first album that starts the Mick Ronson era. On guitar, Mick Ronson on guitar, and would eventually morph into, the Ziggy Stardust era. So, I'm not a huge fan of Space Oddity. I've heard a couple songs off his debut, which was just self-titled, and really didn't connect with me. Space Odyssey had some great stuff on it. But to be honest, the era of David Bowie that really starts with this one for me. And I'm not a fan of all of his whole catalog, but there's some select stuff like from the early 2000s, late 90s that I do like. Some stuff from the 80s, especially the early 80s, that I really like. And then pretty much all his 70s stuff I'm a fan of. Station to Station, Low. Heroes is okay. I like Low better. And I like Scary Monsters, and so I think that came out in 1980. But yeah. So, but all his stuff, what's that? Young Americans, and the other albums I mentioned that I have, I'm a big fan of. So, all right. Next up is now this one took a long time to get because of the tariffs and stuff like that. But they reissued something Lizzie recently. Well, actually, this was supposed to come out in March, so I ordered it in January. This one, and I'm still waiting on another one. But it's Chinatown. So the other one I'm waiting for is Black Rose, which was the album before that. This is their 10th studio album. This is the first album with Snowy White on guitar, after Brian Downey left. Go back here. So the place that I ordered from, I actually had to call them. So thankfully they had a number and just didn't, the lyrics, I just didn't correspond through just only email. But this is somewhat of an overlooked album. It's one that I really, really like. I'm not saying it's my favorite from them, but it's one that I really, really like. Red Transparent. I want to say the Black Rose one that I ordered is like purple or like some type of blue. It probably is, but hopefully they'll be shipping that one soon. They said whoever I spoke to on the phone did tell me that they would be shipping it as soon as possible. So, but this took a long time. So anyway, and I was ready to cancel it, to be honest, and get a refund. So then Lizzie Chinatown. Alright, the last vinyl is the reissue from Green Day, Warning. This was their 6th studio album. I'm a fan of their 90s stuff. I mean, the first thing I ever heard from them was Dookie. And that was their the thing that really broke, that's the album that really broke them. Then I was a fan of the next 3 albums after that, which includes this one. So they did release a box set. I think it was like a 5 CD box set for this, which I opted not to get. I do have the Dookie one, and I have the Nimrod one. They haven't released, I can't remember the album that came after Dookie. They haven't released a box set for that one, Insomniac. So, which I was kind of surprised. They may pick that one up. I do have this on CD, so I just opted only to get the vinyl. So, and the CD, you know, comes with like demos and studio outtakes and live show. So, Green Day. All right, Green Day Warning. All right, now the 2 CD box sets I have. This is a band I showed one of their. I think it was back in July maybe, when I did a haul video. They released a live album. It's the band War. They're funk, kind of soul, rock, Latin elements to their music. Their first 2 albums had Eric Burden with them in the band. I do have that box set. I think I showed that one on a haul video also. And then over the summer is when they released the Live in Japan. It's a double disc, and I picked that up, and it sounds really amazing. So it sounds really amazing. I really love the sound on it. They did a great job with that production wise. So this is the albums after Eric Burden left from the Animals. Eric Burden, and it's 5 albums, and it's their self-titled up through Why Can't We Be Friends. So, and that is their most popular era. That's the most popular era of the band. So, War, which is kind of an overlooked album, but because it really starts, their major popularity really starts with the album All Day Music. Which is here, All Day Music. They do have another box set of the albums after that now, and I haven't really checked out those albums. I've heard songs off of them, but so I'm not sure if I'm going to pick that up, but I am a big fan of these and the Eric Burden albums. The World Needs a Ghetto. The World is a Ghetto. The World Needs a Ghetto. Deliver the Word. And Why Can't We Be Friends? So this is like from 71 to 75, I believe. So, very cool band. Who are no longer together anymore. The keyboardist Lonnie Jordan keeps the band together, or his version of War together, and they tour and stuff. They don't put out any new music, but yeah, I grew up on them. I had family members who were into them. My parents were into them, so that's how I know of them, and I grew to enjoy their music. So, all right, the last thing I got is this was just recently released, is the Beatles Anthology, the remastered collection. They did have this on vinyl as well. I opted not to get that. I got the CD collection. Now, this originally came out 30 years ago when they did their Beatles documentary in the 90s. They also put out the anthology documentary. They also put out a book, a big hardcover book that I think honestly did not come out until a few years after, because I do have it somewhere. A few years after the anthology documentary and this, they released three CD sets back then. Anthology 1, 2, and 3. And this one comes with the 4th one. I have seen a few reviews on this and a few unboxings on this. A few people got theirs early. So there's been mixed reviews on it as far as like the content, especially of the newly added Anthology 4. Some people love it or think it's great. Some people are like, was it really necessary? Maybe just having it remastered was or reissued was enough. But yeah, oh, here's the back. So let's see what it comes with, because I'm not 100% sure about everything besides the discs. And I remember my brother owned one or two of these sets in the 90s, and I never did, so I knew a few other people that had a couple of sets as well. So this is Anthology 1. These are 2 CD sets, by the way. Oops. Oh, just opens like that. I think it opens much more. And the CDs are in here. Now this covers their early era, like their, like, before they were officially the Beatles, like demos, like from their first, like, early albums. It also has Free as a Bird. These have been remastered as far as I know. Which was a song that they released in the 90s that I believe it was like a demo that John Lennon had. So yeah, so this is just like, goes through the track listing, and it talks about a few of the songs and stuff too. So I remember the 90s issues were jewel cases, double jewel cases, if I remember correctly. So yeah, but that's what you get. Alright, so just a quick run through that. Alright, that's one. Alright, Anthology 2 covers the more like the Help era, Rubber Soul, Revolver, so they're more psychedelic period. Also covers like well, that would also include Sgt. Pepper as well. So this is 2. Well, I never owned this, so I'm actually glad that I picked it up. I will go through Nostalgia 4 and, see if I feel like it's worth it. If I don't, even if I don't, I'm still glad I have this, so. Alright, 3 is, of course, the later period, from like the White Album and after. Cover. That this like, yeah, should have pulled out the disc in the other one. I'll pull one out just to see. I'm assuming they're not all Apple, because the Apple didn't exist in their early period. They're on Parlophone, I believe. Oh, well, they do have that, yeah. Let's see what this other disc looks like. Yeah, it's the same, so. Okay. Alright, let's look at the book. This was the end of, towards the end of the band breakup. Alright, very cool. Alright, now I will show the Anthology 4. Does have that for Now and Then on here too, which was released earlier in the year, I believe, or late last year. I think it was late last year. That song, another song that they had from John Lennon that they worked on actually in the 90s during Anthology but never completed. So this actually maybe covers all 3 eras. That's what I'm guessing. This last one is like more stuff that covers all 3 eras. you know, for myself, this is pretty cool because I do like listening to alternate takes, studio demos, and things like that. Hearing the progression of a song, you know, before it was in its final stage. So I do enjoy stuff like that. So yep, so that's Anthology 4. So alright, that's it. That was my classic rock update. I do have a metal one coming up very, very soon, so tune in for that. Anyway, that's all I got. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video.